Only through conflict do we evolve.
Hey guys, it's Percolating, and today we are doing another Real Talk, and this one is one that kind of jumped up on me. It was just a thought that I had, and the more I thought about it, the more I felt like it was something that should be kind of talked about a little bit more. Or at least, I feel like it should be talked about more in the communities in which it is important. So if this doesn't affect you, that's one thing. But for me, I feel like it's something that should exist more, or should just in general, we should talk about more in the geeky community. But I'm getting a bit ahead of myself, even though I'm pretty sure you know because you've looked at the title and the thumbnail. But let me just start by saying that what we're watching in the background right now is some Overwatch. We're playing Doomfist in the PTR. It took a very long time to get any matches where I actually played Doomfist in the regular quick play, but I have a couple matches. Obviously, I'm not very good at attack heroes. It's not my specialty. I will never actually play Doomfist. Luckily, I do have one, possibly two counters, and I'm gonna definitely have to pick up Sombra as a counter to Doomfist whenever he drops. At least in his current state. I don't know about what the future of the PTR might have, but this is first day and I think fourth day of the PTR, which he had got a nerf the second day when I actually got into the quick plays. So you guys can see how he plays in a bit if that's what you are actually here for. But like I said, Doomfist, really cool, and Overwatch in general, really cool. And Overwatch is actually a perfect segue into talking about what this week's Real Talk is about. And let me start by saying I am a fan of gaming. Wow, that might come as a shock, but I love gaming. I do love all the different portions of gaming, the competitive, the casual. I love it all, but I feel like the professional is not given enough. It's not given enough time. It's not given enough time in the limelight. And I know that may sound like a bit of a Hail Mary out of nowhere, but listen, of course, just listen. I feel like it'll make more sense afterwards. And of course, I want to know what you think about it and your thoughts on it. So please feel free to talk. Feel free to talk back, and let's see if we can get some sort of solution going. Of course, I can talk about things, but unless we actually try to do anything of the sort, anything to actually try to change it, of course, nothing's really going to happen. But let's jump back a bit. So, I love professional esports. I say professional because yes, there are the esports that are like at your local tournaments and blah blah blah, and those are cool too. Don't get me wrong, but I'm talking about the professional esports, the ones where we are spending millions of dollars to have people entertain us on a professional level with the ridiculous amounts of training that they've gone through and the ridiculous amounts of skill that they have. That's the esports that I really am focusing on in this video. Now, again, I'm not trashing those who are like in the lower tiers or who aren't particularly there yet. No, I'm not trashing them, but they are not the main focus of this video. I feel like they will be affected by what I say, by my theoreticals here, but they are not my main focus in this video. So, professional esports. Now, I feel like I say it randomly and often, but I'm not someone who's been in the gaming community for long. It wasn't until the last quarter of my life that I realized how much I was really into the gaming, entertainment, nerdy, geeky scene. And in that time, at some point, I fell in love with Super Smash Brothers. I started off with Brawl, and then I started playing Smash 4 almost as soon as it came out because I loved it. I absolutely thought it was a fantastic game. I had a fun time. I actually trained that game and went to a couple tournaments. I got smashed. Don't think I did very well. I got absolutely smashed, but I played and I enjoyed tournaments, and I did go, and it was fun. It was a great time. But in doing so, I also found out, wow, there's more competitive scenes, and they exist, and they are fucking ridiculous, and they are awesome. And that just made me super happy for 100,000 different reasons. And that was maybe 3 years ago where I was competing and where I was where I was training and where I was playing almost daily Super Smash Bros. And playing all the time and watching all sorts of guides and how-tos and watching professionals play and analyzing their play styles and all that sort of stuff. I mean, I did it, and then I fell out of it because I realized I do like variety gaming way more, and I enjoy it way more. But just in general, there was a time where I was really deep into Super Smash Bros. Now come to present day, and I'm doing more or less the same thing with Overwatch. I would love. I'm kind of sort of talking with a couple of friends about possibly trying to start our own team for some of like the more local tournaments and such, if we can find some and if we can get together to do it. But I would love to be part of it. Like I said, we all know that we're not the fucking best. We know that, but we would love to do that. And we love competing. Competing is a fun thing, but just like when we, just like people who play football, soccer, or any other sport, even if you know you're not going to eventually get to the very top, you enjoy what you do, and then you also want to watch the professionals do it. One, to kind of copy some of their styles, and two, to kind of just watch them do things amazingly. You know what I'm saying? And I feel like we lack that. I feel like we as a community lack that ability. We lack that ability to constantly be able to watch what we want as far as professional esports. And that may sound a bit like off, like that's not true, but if you're not deep in the community of if you're not deep in the community of whichever, of Overwatch, of Super Smash Bros, of Dota, of League of Legends, it is super hard to find what's going on in their competitive scene, so you can know what's going on and how to jump in and start watching. And it's, as if you were to talk to any sports person, it's easy as hell to jump in. You can watch literally any game, and they, in the middle of the game, they're telling you why they're playing the game. Like all the time, they tell you what the stakes are, where they're trying to get to, what their scores and records are. They give you complete backstory on what's going on during the commentary of the game and what's going on. And they also are always there, like they are always there, like, and that one might be confusing, but just hold on for a second. When I say they're always there, I mean every Tuesday night you can go, every whatever night you can watch your football. Like I want to say it's Tuesday night football, or maybe Friday night. I forget. I'm not good. Obviously, I don't watch sports like that. My dad's a huge sports person, and it made him very sad that I'm not. But nonetheless, like, he's a huge sports guy, and he knows at any point he can get on, and there is a channel dedicated to his sports. Now, I'm not saying we need a TV channel dedicated to our esports. I'm really not. None of us would watch TV anyway, so it's not worth it getting a TV channel anyway. I don't think we need to be worrying that hard about it. But what I do want, or what I do say, is that the lead providers of live streaming and like all those, they should have, I feel like they should have more dedication towards the esports circuit, the pro circuits, so that we can see and we can always have our equivalent of ESPN, but on the Twitch, on the MLG, on the wherever else. YouTube would be grand if we could have that as well, because just in general, YouTube gaming has a fantastic spot. Honestly, should be a fantastic spot to find all the POVs afterwards. Honestly, I feel like it should, at least. Even if it's not live, I feel like there should just be a main hub for each, like almost for each game, for the professional plays. You know what I'm saying? And I feel like it's really hard to find what you want as far as pro plays, unless again you are deep in the community and you already knew, in which case you're using metadata that I wouldn't be able to see, because I wouldn't be able to sit there for that long. Like if we were to think about how about football season and how any of our esports, and I'm gonna use Overwatch, the Overwatch League here, because Well, one, the footage in the background is Overwatch, and two, Overwatch in general is like the one that I've been trying recently to pay more attention to, but I don't have the time to dedicate to pay that much attention to. And I feel like I feel like more people have this kind of state of mind. Whether like I'd love to be able to watch esports, but it's so hard to watch esports. It really is. Like, my esports experience with Overwatch was BlizzCon 2016. I was able to watch it just barely. It just happened to be able to watch it because I was out of town with my family, and we had a TV that connected to YouTube, and I was scrolling through YouTube, and I just happened to see that it was trending, that it was live trending. So I went and I watched, and I was able to catch the last 2 or 3 games, the last 2-3 exhibition games, not exhibition games, but I think it was like the quarterfinals, semifinals, and I fell asleep and didn't finish watching the finals, but I was able to actually go back and watch it later, which was good for me. But it took a lot of searching to be able to watch it back, which was an issue for me, because I had to do that on my own time, and it was ridiculous how much time it took. It took me like 10-20 minutes to actually find the finals, a good version of the finals, and you feel like something like that should be there, present, like kind of in your face when I search it up in the, like, just at the end of the week, you know what I'm saying? But like, I would love to be able, like, if you think of how football sets up their thing, it's like they've got their preseason, and the preseasons, of course, they're every team's playing whenever, like, whatever. I'm gonna use Tuesday. I'm pretty sure I'm probably wrong, but it's like Tuesday nights. The preseason, they're all preseason games. You can catch it on whichever channel you really want. There's different games, but just in general, there's preseason games going on every Tuesday up until a certain point, in which case the actual season starts. And now they're playing for the ability to be able to, they're fighting for the ability to get into their Super Bowl. And then towards, like, after a certain point, they cut it off, and it's now the last couple teams fighting to get to that again. Super, like, they're doing like tournament style more or less, where they get to the Super Bowl. Now they get to the Super Bowl, and that's a huge event. And that huge event is the big thing that brings them all together. It's like, okay, this is it. This is for all the marbles right here, right now. We're playing it's like they're playing for everything, and that is the Super Bowl. And then it's the big celebration, all the fanfare, and it's like, all right, sweet. And then, boom, that's the Super Bowl. And then we go back into, they go into like other bowl games that are not as exciting, but then afterwards they go right back into and afterwards they go right back into preseason, and it starts all over again. Now that's actually fairly easy to follow. That's very easy to follow, and even someone who's not a sports person can kind of guess, jump in, and after a while kind of catch on to what point we're in. It's like, well, with this in the preseason, you can always hear the commentators saying, or they are really fighting for their ability to get to the Super Bowl. They are down right here. They're down right now, blah, 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 blah. They set up the stakes so that you can continue watching. It's part of what the appeal of sports is, and sports casting and sports channels. It's kind of what they do. They set up the tension more than the actual game does. Like, obviously there's some tension within the actual game, because you can see, oh, it's 6 to 7 right now, and both of them have been holding really good defense. It's like you can physically watch that, and you can be like in attendance to that immediately. But like, as far as the tension of why this is so important for them and why they're fighting so hard, and that's why it's 6 to 7, that is why, like, that's like the difference. I feel like we don't have those stakes set. We don't do it well. We don't set the stakes. It's all done in a single day. And I'm not sure if you understand what I mean by that, but I'm about to explain it, so don't worry, because that's what I do. So if you were to think of any of our big tournaments, and using, again, I think I'm gonna continue with Overwatch, but I might pull some Super Smash Bros. in every so often, because again, that's the two that I really know. The way we always seem to do our events seems to be in the matter of 2-3 days. And sometimes it's not the only event, sometimes it's multiple events. In the way of Super Smash Bros, it would be Evo. All of Evo is taking place in 2 or 3 days, and you may care about Super Smash Bros, but Super Smash Bros might not come on the live stream until late that night. But they've got Street Fighter, and then after Street Fighter they've got something else, and then something else, and then finally at like 9 o'clock at night they have Super Smash Bros. It's like, well, fuck, I don't give a shit about Super Smash. It's like, I don't give a shit about half the other ones. I would love to watch Super Smash Bros. As much of the day as I can. And even so, I don't want to watch all that in a day. You know what I'm saying? Like, they talk about the stakes like on their Twitters and whatnot, but it's way hard. Let's be honest. If you could have all of your information in one place or all of your information flooded to pull apart, when it comes to just like knowing what's going on in the, like, you would want it all to be right there and presented to you. It makes things easier, to digest, it makes things more fun for everyone in there. Like, it just is. So if we could stop doing it in 2 to 3 days and start making it a longer frame, like a longer time frame as far as like the actual setups and blah blah blahs and blah blah blah, it would be a lot more convenient. I don't know about you, but I don't have hours to spend watching live streams. I really do not. Like, as much as I would love to be able to just watch live streams, I also have 100,000 other things that I have to do, as well as 100,000 other things that I need to watch. I'm in the middle of watching a different anime, right? I'm in the middle of watching anime. I'm in the middle of catching up on a series. I've got stuff that I have to create. I've got a job I've got to work at. Like, I don't know about you, but between all that and more stuff that randomly comes at me, I've got a lot of things that I have to do. I don't always have the time to sit and watch hours of live footage for possibly something, you know? And then to also add the fact that I'd have to look for my own live stream, because again, they never really seem to put it up front and center for us. Like, they never really seem to put it together as like, oh, here are all the competitive things going on right now. It's like, you'd feel like at this point, with Twitch being as huge as it is and YouTube gaming and MLG, you'd figure that they would have some stuff like that just right front center for you. Say, hey, here are all the competitive things. If you're not into competitive, here's some of the funny guys, and if you're not into the funny guys, here's some of the, like, Twitch does it better than most. They really do. They do have, like, if you click into their games, you can see that Overwatch is there, and then sometimes you can see that there's some of the Overwatch things there, but it doesn't tell you it doesn't tell you where they are, and doesn't tell you if it's a preseason, doesn't tell you if it's going anywhere, doesn't mean anything, or if it's just a single tournament that they're doing. I don't understand. It's like I would like to know, is this important? Is this going straight to the pros? Are these the pros trying to train? What is this? Like, it would be fantastic if they could lay that out. But Twitch is trying. I'm not bashing Twitch and saying they're not doing anything. I'm saying Twitch is trying their best to kind of sort of do it, but at the same time, there's 100,000 different leagues for the same couple games. I'm not saying that's bad. I'm not saying that they should shrink it down, but I kind of am saying that we need to figure out which ones are the ones that people really, really care about. People care about the NFL, and people care about the college football league. I don't know if it's literally just CFL, but what, like, they care about college football, and whenever professional football isn't there. So it's like, all right, those are the two that they constantly talk about. If we were to talk Overwatch, we care about the Overwatch League and the Overwatch and the BlizzCon, like the event that's going to happen at BlizzCon where all the big teams get together. That's what we would really care about. So everything in between where people are fighting their way up, we need to know this is part of their preseason where they qualify to go here, or this is where they're qualifying to get to where they're trying to get to the National Overwatch League. We need to, it's like that needs to be figured out. What exists where, who gets to, who's going where from where, like because right now there's no set way of showing that. Like, it's not showing like, yo, these teams are getting together, these are the teams, and these are the teams that are going to be fighting for this, that, and the other. Like, no one seems to know that very well. And if we want to actually make this into something that is more available to more people, that's one thing that I feel like as an industry we need to figure out. Now, again, I don't know all the specifics on how it would all work, but hang in, this is just my way of thinking of how it would be just a little bit better, I feel like. So, obviously, we don't want one game every couple of times. That would be horrendous. That would be really short-sighted. It would be really dumb. But maybe have, there's skirmishes going on. They've got the preseason skirmishes going on where this team and this team are facing off, and so are this team and this team. Like, we have a couple different teams that are gonna face off against each other in preseason skirmishes. All right, sweet. That'd be fun to watch. Watch some of the pros fight against each other and see where they kind of pick up on what styles, and you can find stuff like that'd be really cool. And that right there alone would make me a lot more interested in the Overwatch League than I currently am, which is saying something because I'm already very interested in Overwatch, but just in general, that would make me more interested in the Overwatch competitive league. And that would, it's like, okay, here are all the pregame skirmishes, and to have them always set at one place, they're always going to be at twitch.tv/Overwatch League. Like, that seems pretty easy. And I know I'm getting really deep on how much extra good it would do, but you could have a set amount of people who are going to you have a set amount of people going to certain areas, and they can travel like their sports teams to meet at certain places. It's like, here are a couple different locations for different Overwatch streams, or just in general, here are a couple different locations for streaming for different eSports. And again, I'm just using Overwatch, but you can do this with pretty much any big game. Like, you can trade the name for Call of Duty, you can trade the name for Battlefield, for literally any other competitive gaming thing. Like, you really can. Dota, League of Legends, blah blah blah. Just like I feel like we need that ability to, like, here's the preseason skirmishes. They're always going to be at overwatch.com like, they're always going to be at twitch.tv/Overwatch League, or twitch.tv/League of Legends Nationals. Like, just secure that spot for whichever the big names are. Like, let them secure that spot, and then they can run their league officially. They can officially run their league, and it works. All right, and then it's like, all right, now the preseasons are done. So now we're into the actual season. So now these are the actual 4 qualifications. All right, and now there could honestly be hours of streaming, and they can kick between the different locations if they need to. It's like, the first one's gonna be in LA, now the next one's gonna be in blah blah blah, and next one's gonna be here, next one's gonna be here. And honestly, now that I think about it, that would probably fix the whole time issue, where it's like, well, how are we gonna make sure that there's gonna be enough content for the entire time? You've got two or four different teams getting together to fight off in their season. So there's four teams on the East Coast, 4 teams in the Mid Coast and like the Central, and then 4 teams that are on the West Coast. And then it literally that would be probably like 3 hours of a 3-hour live stream, more or less, depending on how long they actually last, and breaks and sponsorships. Like, it can be probably a 3-hour stream of pure professional play, and that could be a weekly thing for however long. And then then afterwards it gets all the way through. All right, now we're in the season. do the same thing where it's like every Tuesday you can come back for Overwatch, and it'll be here from 7 Eastern to 10 Western, or 10, yeah, something like that, whatever. I'm trying to say like 10 Eastern. I think that's what I'm trying to say, where it's like 3 hours pure pro play, and it kind of goes across across a wave of the entire like US, where it's like, all right, 4 teams, go. 4 teams, go. And obviously you can switch it up however you need to make sure that the time slots fit correctly, that they get enough breaks and blah blah, but whatever. But like, that's how it could work. It's like every Tuesday, this time there will be Overwatch professional play, and it works. It, like, people would be there. It's easier for people to make something a part of a schedule. It's why I try to stream every Wednesday night. It's like, Wednesday night, oh yo, I could watch Percolating stream tonight. Cool, sweet. It's like, if they were to do that with anything else, it makes things easier, because now people know where they can go to watch the professional play and get their weekly dose. And then they can watch it back. You can post the POVs on like a YouTube or on Twitch if you really want to, or wherever you're streaming. And then after that, you've got the entirety of the archive right there. People can download, make their cuts. It'd be really epic, because now people can easily make pro montages. They do it with football. Why would they not do it with gaming? Gamers are way more dedicated than... let me not try to spark a fire. Gamers are hugely dedicated. Like, you see all the different things that are on YouTube about all the different things. Like, Overwatch in particular has a huge fan base. So, like, you see all their stuff. It trends. When Doomfist was released, the animated short trended on #1, I want to say, on YouTube for a while. So, like, if you don't understand how much especially on the internet, people will make their montages. People will make and they will use they would love to use professional players. It just makes things interesting. And if it was all in one place, it makes things easier for them to grab and say, hey, here it is. Like, here's awesome stuff. And that alone would make things way easier for keeping up with the entire season. But afterwards, when we get to that season, where we get to the final tournament style, it's like, okay, they've been facing off for so long. Now they found their places in the order of the last couple games. Like, now we have our last tournament ladder, where it's gonna be quarterfinals, semifinals, finals. Like, that could all be one event day, and it would be 100 times better, and you could spend so much more time making that an amped up epic thing. Maybe there became maybe a rivalry came from it. There's so much awesome stuff that you could do with that to make it more entertaining and more accessible to people. If you could just make it a longer thing instead of trying to make it all one day. You know what I'm saying? Like, trying to force everything into one day is never going to be as much fun as if you are able to stretch it out. Like, as much as people are like, oh, I just like to binge the entire Netflix series, those who had to wait for it had a better experience, because they remember every week coming to their friends like, are you caught up? All right, well, let's talk about this. So I could finally be able to talk to my friends about the Overwatch competitive. It's like, bro, did you see the team go against blah 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 and blah blah blah? It was ridiculous. It was amazing. They were on Hanamura. And you know how we talk. We would get into so much. We would talk so much about it. There would be so much amazing. Like, it would be thinking about it makes me really happy, because it could be so much better. It could be so much more fun. Like, that's why I'm just saying, like, if we were to take it from the current formula and switch it off into that, yo, all the stuff, it's spread out now. It's spread out now into the preseasons, the regular season, and then the final tourney. The final tourney could be so much more epic. So BlizzCon, if BlizzCon is the main place that we're gonna do the last tourney could be 100 times better, because now it's just, we know exactly where people are coming from. It's like, yo, BlizzCon's coming up. Obviously, you can take your time off to make sure that it's all prepared. It's like, all right, well, the preseasons are done, so now they're into training mode until blah blah blah. If they want to stream the whatever else, you can decide how that needs to work. But then they can come onto the BlizzCon stage, and everyone's like, okay, let's do this. This is gonna be awesome. Oh god, team blah 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 is gonna go against team blah blah blah. It's gonna be really really cool. And then they're gonna pick from who's gonna go to nationals and the internationals, and that it makes things 100 times easier to follow if we can set it up that way. And right now it's not set up that way. We need, what I feel like would make things fantastically easy is just Twitch, and I'm just using I'm using Blizzard and Overwatch as the talking point, but you can do it with any other game. If we can get Overwatch Blizzard team to get a domain from Twitch where it's twitch.tv/Overwatch Professional League or Overwatch League, and every week we come back. Every week we come back to a single time where there's going to be live streams all across the country. It would sell. It really would sell. And like I know that's like, if I were to be talking to a company, if someone from the company is listening right now, I know that's what you kind of care about for the most part, but like, it would sell if you can find a couple places across the US where you can host this and have the internet ready, and it would be totally worth it. It would be an investment, don't get me wrong. You would definitely go into an investment, but nerds pay for their stuff. They may not pay for it in actual money right then to whatever. Some of them do, but they will pay. It makes the brand so much more worth it. I will pay so much more for a shirt that I actually watch, of something I actually watch the entire way through, versus just a Overwatch shirt. An Overwatch Pro League, or like where you will all of course have all sorts of inside jokes that come from chats and whatnot. As long as you are paying attention to your community, there's so much money that you can make from it. Like, there's so much. There's so much money that can be made. There's so much opportunity. There's so much possibility for like a good time if we can just get that sort of setup. Like, of course, I'm not trying to say that we need more professional casters. I like the casters when they're professional but easygoing. Some of my favorite casters tell jokes the entire time through, but at the same time know what they're actually talking about. It's like, yeah, apparently this Genji just needs all the healing in the world right now, but you know, whatever the hell. Like, they don't have to be professional. I like the casters. They just need to, I feel like they need to become a little bit less, like, don't take yourselves as seriously. You're not sportscasters. We don't want you to be sportscasters. Calm your ass down. We're cool with what we have, and we like what we have. So please bring it back. We understand that you're also gamers. It's totally fine to just be gamers. But just know what you're talking about as well. But like honestly, my big thing is just, I feel like there just needs to be a little more organization to the way that they set things up, because it's not easily accessible. And if they could easily make it more accessible, esports in general would be 100 times more enjoyable. I would love it. It's like, I would love it so much more if I was able to come and watch my Overwatch professional leagues with ease. I'd be able to jump into way more different. I'd be able to jump into more sports. Like, if we could again take a little bit of a out of the book of like professional sports, maybe Overwatch is like January to May or something, like January to April is all Overwatch, is like the Overwatch scene is like, that's when they're doing the ramped up season, and then the finals, and then like towards the finals you've got the ending of the preseason for Super Smash Bros, and then Super Smash Bros goes all the way through until the next 4 months, and then after that, like when it's doing its finals at maybe like an Evo or something, then now we have another one picking up its season, like Street Fighter, and then after Street Fighter goes Mortal Kombat or blah blah blah, or Call of Duty, and there could be a bit of more of a rotation. Like, obviously we can throw other games in the mix. It's not like you can only have one professional league going at a time. I'm saying there's so much more potential for a good flowing esports community if we can get the professionals to get together with if we can get the professionals to get together and just make it a little more accessible to the people, it will make things just in general a lot more easy for watching pleasures, and then it's a way better time for everyone involved. And there's only one possible downside that I see to all this, and it's like, well, if that's the case, then who's to say that the small guys can get into the tournaments? And honestly, that's the one part that I don't know for sure. I don't know how they pick. So I would say that somewhere in their preseason is they'd have to choose new guys to jump into the fray, and hopefully those new guys would be able to set themselves up. You know what I'm saying? But like, I don't know. That's more logistics than I technically know, and that's because I don't know the Overwatch League in general. If they could talk more about the Overwatch League, and like, if they could talk more and get the Overwatch League onto that level that I'm talking about, where there's every single week we've got Overwatch, it'd be great. It would be fantastic. I'd be able to watch so much more. I would watch so much more. I'm pretty sure a lot of people would. Like, I'm not bashing on the players who are able to who do have the time and spend the time dedicated, like going through and finding these different streams to be able to watch, but I don't have that time. I honestly do not have that time. As much as I would love to be able to do that, I don't have that time. I also don't have that patience most of the time. It's like, to be able to, like, I went to go try to find a schedule for what's going on with the Overwatch League, and it took me 10 to 20 minutes to find the stream, and it was ridiculous. And I still don't know whether that was actually like them going towards the Overwatch League, or whether that was just a live streamed tournament. I'm still not sure which one it was, but if you understand what's wrong with that, I'm pretty sure you're kind of understanding why I'm talking about what I am. I think esports has a very big potential. I feel like us geeks would really love it. I don't know, maybe I'm talking out my ass and it's just me, but I feel like it would make things a lot more enjoyable if that's the way we did our esports. But that's one geek's opinion. I would love to know what you guys think. Guys, I'm coming to the end of my real talk, so I hope you enjoyed the footage of Doomfist in the background. Like I said, I'm not a big Doomfist player, and I'm really excited to see how he jumps in and destroys the meta, because he definitely will. He will definitely fuck things all the way up, and I'm excited to see how that works. But guys, all things considered, I'd love for you to tell me what you think about the entire esports scene, and if you happen to be someone who knows someone in the esports, or knows someone at Twitch, or knows someone at blah blah blah, maybe show them this video and see if we can get something kind of rolling. If you have an idea of something that we can do to possibly get this to be a thing, if you really like it, I'm all on board to try to help out with it whatever I can. So please talk to your boy. I'd love to hear you guys' thoughts. Like I said, I am just one small person in a huge community, but I would love this community to get better, and I would love for the Overwatch competitive community also to thrive a little bit more. But guys, all things being said, it's been Pergolating. It's been real, it's been fun, it's been real fun, and I will talk to you guys in the next one. Peace.